Last week, we discussed how a situation concerning human sacrifice devolved in a small congregation in Montego Bay, Jamaica. This week, we'll be going further into the incident that occurred and also be diving into the aftermath. Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to May's Mortem. My name is Maefield, and today I'll be going into part 2 on my series on the Pathways International Kingdom Restoration Ministries. If you haven't seen part 1, I can link that up above for you now, because if you don't watch that video first, this one probably will not make a lot of sense. Now before we get started, I do need to make a disclaimer that this video is for educational purposes. The beliefs of this group are not my own, and I don't mean to insult anybody that I speak about. If you have found yourself in a cult and are seeking assistance, I'll be putting some helpful links in the description for you. Also today in this video, we will be discussing topics such as human sacrifice and murder. Just like last week, this video is going to be a pretty heavy one, and for that reason, I don't really feel comfortable showing you guys my outfit today. It just seems a little vain, and people are dead, so I'm just gonna skip that this week. Also, before we get started, as a side note, I want to make one thing exceptionally clear. We are not here to shame people who are members or have been members of this cult. We don't insult people for their personal belief systems. We're not here to judge. We're on YouTube. Also, here's the featured comment for this week. Thank you so much for commenting on my videos lately, guys. I really do appreciate it. Now that we have all of that out of the way, I'll pour the tea and we can get into it. Okay, let's go. So last week we left off talking about how this congregation made their way to the church all dressed in white, and how they had left their cell phones at home wrapped in tinfoil, except for one person who brought their cell phone with them. I had also briefly mentioned how Kevin O. Smith, the church's leader, had told his followers to start throwing away important items in the church, which all seem to be cleaning items, weirdly enough. Specific things like soaps and tissues and disinfectant wipes. There are actually pictures that have been taken of the crime scene where you can see these items lying outside the church's property. So I guess they were just throwing them in trash cans and then dumping them outside. As the followers were throwing away all of these seemingly random items, a bottle of wine breaks in the process. Smith then decides that whoever is closest to the bottle of wine whenever it broke on the ground should be the first person to enter the kingdom of heaven, which means that they should be the first person to be sacrificed. He gives the job of committing this murder to a man named Kevon Palmer, and he hands him a knife to complete the job. Kevon immediately chased after this unnamed victim with the knife, as well as another unnamed bystander who just happened to be nearby, and he ended up stabbing both of these people in the back. Thankfully, these people did not end up passing away due to their injuries, but I did hear that they ended up in the hospital as a result. People within the congregation start to lie down on their stomachs in the church to try and get away from the madness, kind of hunker down and keep safe. And Smith starts to run around destroying the glass altar, the glass pieces on the altar, the glass windows, and pretty much anything else he can get his hands on. It was said that at one point Smith actually stopped this chaos so that he could hand knives to some of the church members, saying that they should slash their fellow congregants, claiming that they were all archangels about to embark on a heavenly journey. One of the most horrifying incidents that occurred during all of this was the murder of church member Michael Brown. Michael had health issues that required him to have tubes attached to his body somehow. According to witnesses, Smith told Michael that he had to die, but that he would be resurrected with a better body because Smith was God and he could do that for him. Smith then pulled these tubes out of Michael's body, causing him to pass away as a result. Another death that occurred that evening was that of 39-year-old Tanika Gardner. When she arrived to the church that evening, Smith asked her if she believed that he could raise the dead, to which she answered yes. Smith then instructed one member of the church to slash Tanika's throat, which they refused to do. So Smith turned to another member of the church named Andre Ruddock, who said yes, that he would do it. After Andre cut Tanika's throat, Smith proclaimed how Tanika was a goat, and that she had to die because she was a human sacrifice. And the thing about all of these deaths and injuries that occurred that evening is that it's all so jumbled, it all kind of started happening at once. Everything in this event happened so quickly that there are a lot of differing reports as to who passed away first or who got stabbed first. It just sounds like it was a very confusing and extremely horrible event. By this point, as you can probably tell, the church was in chaos. An unnamed member of the church is so stunned by everything she's witnessed, she slowly walks out of the main chapel onto the front lawn of the church's property. She says that while she was standing outside, she witnessed 2 high-ranking church members leaping over the fence of the property. I can only assume that maybe there was like a gate that was locked or something and that's why they were trying to get out. And she says that she found it odd because the people that were trying to escape from the property were generally very close to Smith, and they would often approve of almost everything that he said and did. She said that in this moment she realized something must truly be wrong with the situation that she was in, so she called the police from the cell phone that she had snuck into the church. If you remember what I said previously, Smith had actually told all of the congregants to leave their cell phones at home wrapped in tinfoil turned off. But this individual did not leave her cell phone at home either because she just wanted to have it on her or because she felt like something was wrong. Whatever it was, her decision to sneak in her cell phone probably saved a lot of lives that day. After getting this emergency call, the police acted quickly. They had already had their eye on the church for a while, and to them it was really just a matter of time before something like this occurred. The authorities arrived on scene within minutes, and this is also when the final death took place. When they arrived to the church, the police officers were shot at by an unidentified person, and Kevon Palmer, the man who had stabbed some other people just earlier, had tried to attack officers with a machete. The officers then shot at Kevon, which ended up killing him. Needless to say, the aftermath of this incident was a lot to take in. The church was described as bloodstained by the time the police arrived. Many innocent people that had been present at the service had been stabbed, and 3 of them had life-threatening injuries, not to mention the 3 people that had already passed away at the scene. There is nothing in the media that details exactly how Kevin Smith was apprehended, but he was arrested and taken into police custody. 41 of the people who were present at this incident were taken into police custody for questioning. And after his arrest, Kevin Smith's personal files on his computer revealed that he had originally intended to sacrifice 144 people. So if he had not been caught, the killing was probably going to continue. In a mysterious turn of events, the following Monday morning after this incident, Smith ended up being killed in a car accident that also took the life of a police officer, as well as severely injuring 3 others. Smith was being transported by authorities from Montego Bay to Kingston to be formally charged with conspiracy to commit murder. He was in an unmarked police vehicle that happened to be in an intersection when the collision occurred, and it ended up taking his life almost instantly, with Smith dying at the scene. The nature of this car accident is up for speculation because no one is entirely sure as to what happened. The accident was described as such. 2 police vehicles were escorting him, one marked and one unmarked. The marked police vehicle created a 3rd lane and went through the intersection fine. The one escorting Smith somehow lost control and hit a vehicle. It then spun and hit another vehicle before stopping. Some people originally speculated that this accident was a hoax, but Smith was in fact confirmed dead upon arrival to a nearby hospital. So it was kind of difficult to ascertain what exactly happened in this accident just by reading about it, so I looked up pictures of this collision, which I do not entirely recommend, and it does look like the car transporting Smith was the one that went out of control. What I want to know is what caused the car to spin out of control like that. Did Smith have anything to do with it? Like, could he have lunged for the wheel of the car? Is that something he was even capable of? He apparently did predict his death before he passed away, so I'm wondering if this was just like his last attempt at exerting control over his situation, but we'll never really know, so at this point all we can do is speculate wildly. After his death, Smith still was charged with murder. A handful of people who were also close to Smith are facing murder charges as well, and due to how recent this case was, new information is being released all the time. And unfortunately, with Smith's death, we will never know the extent of the abuse that he perpetuated on those young boys. So here's the thing about Kevin O. Smith. I'm willing to venture out on a limb and say the dude was kinda busted, but his followers viewed him as a kind man who would use his money to help out the poorer church members. And they were probably made poorer by him, but and he and his congregants would organize food drives and do community service. This church did have a tragic incident occur, but they did normal stuff too, and that's probably what the members liked about it. Nobody joins a cult thinking that it's a cult. The members likely just enjoyed it because of the sense of community that it provided. It's not their fault that their leader turned on them and decided they all needed to leave the earth or whatever. And many people who were members of the church during this incident are still members today. I found out over time as I've made videos on this channel that I don't generally enjoy talking about super recent events like this, but I wanted to discuss this topic with you guys because it shows how easily you can get caught up in things without expecting it, with good people in good communities. I guarantee you that nobody in that congregation could have anticipated what was going to happen that night. The pandemic caused a perfect situation for cults to crop up, so please stay safe, watch out for yourselves, and watch out for those around you. And I think that's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for making it to the end. If you liked what you saw, please hit like and subscribe because I'm still just a small YouTuber and it really helps me out a lot. I'll see you again next week, okay guys? Bye! My ears are popping like crazy. You know, this is only the second time I've worn this wig, but now I'm kind of like, it does not match this outfit. Archangels, I can be your angel or your devil.